Hey, what's up, everybody? This is KG from Draw 7. Welcome to tonight's episode. In tonight's episode, we're going to be earning the top 5 players in Pokemon RGV. These are the ranked number 1 through 5 in Pokemon TCG in the fall edition. We're going to go and start with number 5. 5, we have Adrian. Adrian, say hello out there to everyone.
Yeah. Hello, Kev. Thank you so much for having me. It's an
No,
honor to be here.
no problem. And then we have number 4, we have Victor Limon.
Hello, Kevin. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And then number 3, we have Dylan.
Yo,
Number 2, we have Billy.
Yo,
And number 1, we have Alejandra.
hello.
So, in today's episode, we're going to be asking them a couple of questions about the TCG scene, about their placement, and pretty much how they deck prep and pretty much do well in tournaments. And then from that point, we should be wrapping it up. So that's going to be today's episode. So we'll be asking the questions. I'll be asking the questions, and then all of them will be answering one by one. Of course, their answers will be different. Okay. All these gentlemen here has played really well consistently in League Cups and League Challenges. Some of these gentlemen have gone to regionals before. Actually, they've all been to regionals. Just not as of lately, but some of them have. And all these gentlemen, I want to say all these gentlemen, with the exception of Adrian. Adrian, have you made a day 2 yet at regionals? Not yet, right?
I haven't even been to regionals yet, Kev.
Okay. Well, good to know. But the other gentlemen have made a day 2 at some point. Victor, you made a day 2, I believe, or no?
Nope.
Okay.
Not for
The new.
not for Pokemon.
Okay, not for Pokemon. Okay. These gentlemen have extensive knowledge in the card game Pokemon. They also have extensive knowledge of other card games that they played. And there's, it's no surprise why these gentlemen are doing really well with extensive knowledge and their preparation and just preparing well in tournaments locally and also at the regionals. So we're glad to have him here today. And hopefully you all can learn and get some insight from these gentlemen for your next card game tournament for Pokemon TCG. Okay. All right. So, gentlemen, the first question I'm going to ask you is just pretty much the big picture of the current TCG scene of Pokemon. You may have heard in my other podcast that personally that Pokemon is... can it be competitive? I believe it can. But my question to y'all is, do you feel that Pokemon could be more competitive as far as the community? Could it be, or is it meant to be? Just any thoughts or opinions? In my opinion, I feel that Pokemon is probably ranked 3rd or 4th between the other card games in the RGV. If I had to rank the card game as far as competitive, it'd probably have to be maybe Lorcana, and number 2 would be One Piece, number 3 Yu-Gi-Oh, and then that's where I kind of rank Pokemon. So your thoughts on the TCG scene of competitiveness for Pokemon, and we appreciate your 2 cents. So we'll go and start with Adrian. Adrian, do you have any thoughts about that as far as the RGV TCG scene for Pokemon being competitive as it should be? Any thoughts?
Well, honestly, you described it pretty well, Kev. Like, I didn't play Yu-Gi-Oh in person. I played it through Master Duel. That was pretty competitive for me, but I think Vic or Dylan would probably know more about that. I do know a few of the Lorcana guys. They're pretty competitive. Like, I know Jesus, I think is his name. He's going to the Lorcana version of Worlds, I guess you could consider.
Yeah.
And same thing with One Piece. Like One Piece, like I just see on my Facebook when I'm scrolling, I just see like a bunch of their profiles, and it's just them like at regionals. There was Christian Yubata 1-1 or something like that. Like, I guess in my opinion, yeah, those two are more competitive. But for Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't know enough about that. Like in person, if that makes sense. But yeah, like number 3 or 4 ranks pretty good, honestly, like competitive wise.
Okay, cool. All right, so same question to you, Victor. How do you see the Pokemon TCG scene compared to everyone else? And should it be more competitive? Should it not be? Should it just be casual, or is it meant to be? Thoughts on that, sir?
My personal opinion would be that the game really needs to be a little bit more competitive. I mean, from the past few months, it has grown to a higher degree of competitiveness. When it came to like League Cups and challenges, because we're having them like back to back to back, so you saw like a lot more of the competition kind of grow.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to like locals and like regular tournaments, it's really more casual to a certain aspect. You don't see really a wide variety of different decks or people trying to like play competitive decks. I guess it's because it gets either boring for them. I don't know if it's like financial issues or it's just like they're just trying to have fun and not like take that aspect away from Pokemon. But when it comes to the competitive scene, I would say like the biggest competitive for me, it would probably be like Lorcana, since like there's a lot of traveling, there's a lot of people dedicating a lot of time. Same thing for One Piece. And then, well, Yu-Gi-Oh! In the Valley has really not grown as much as it used to be. I would say at some point it was probably the most competitive from all of the other card games, but as of now, I feel like you ranked it correctly. But I feel like Pokemon is growing, and even though it's an easier based game, when it comes to competitiveness, it's probably one of the bigger ones as of right now. So yeah, I would say it's probably in the top 3.
Okay, that's fair. Fair enough. Dylan, same thing. We're gonna ask you same question, pretty much. The competitive TCG, is Pokemon competitive? Is it not? Does it need to get better compared to their card games as well? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I pretty much agree with what Vic just said. Like, it does get pretty competitive when like cups and stuff are going on, but outside of that, it's like people just kind of mellow down and don't really care to be competitive in my sense. And yeah, I mean, like Vic said, the Lorcana One Piece players do go out and travel more often, a lot more than us Pokemon players, because I know for a couple of us it's more so just the ones that are in like driving distance that more people will go to. But I know there's a couple of us that do decide to you know what, let's travel out to a regional, let's travel out to like ICs and stuff. And then Yu-Gi-Oh, I feel like it kind of died down here in the valley. It's not as big as it used to be. I mean, like how Adrian said, Vic and I used to play. We used to be a part of that scene. And back then, it like pre-COVID, we did have like a lot of players that did want to compete at higher levels and things like that. But I feel like now it did like pretty much die, like in that like I guess competitiveness sense.
Okay. And just keep in mind, guys, and audience members, that most of these players come from a Yu-Gi-Oh background. I believe Vic played Yu-Gi-Oh, and so did Dylan. Adrian, I believe, played Yu-Gi-Oh as well. So
Yeah, I started with Master Duel.
right.
Console.
And I think I want to say probably Billy's the only one that has started with. Billy, was your first card game Pokemon, and has always been Pokemon, right?
I mean, I played Yu-Gi-Oh in like middle school, but that doesn't count. I had like Celtic Guardian theme deck or whatever. Like, yeah, no. I only play Pokemon. I don't know anything about the other card games at all. So.
Right. Yeah. Right. So Billy's pretty much a well, we're all true breed Pokemon, right? Because that's hello. I mean, it's not like Pokemon came out with the card game first, not like Yu-Gi-Oh. Like Pokemon came as a TV show, the video game, and then it stemmed to the card game. So yeah, so everyone's a true bred card game Pokemon. But Alejandra, is this your first card game, or have you played extensive card games before?
No, this is my first and last card game.
Okay.
We're too committed at this point.
Oh, okay. First and last. Okay, so folks, there you go. The number one speaking out. So, all right. So yeah, we heard Dylan's answer. So Billy, same question to you as far as the Pokemon. Has it gotten more competitive? And mind you, Billy, including myself, have been around a little bit more in the competitive scene for Pokemon. So this should be interesting. But Billy, thoughts on the competitive scene? Is it gotten more competitive, less competitive? Thoughts on it, pretty much, or compared to their card games?
I think locally it's gotten a little bit more competitive. Like, I think Vic said, like, people don't, or Dylan said, people don't really travel as much. I think, like, back in our time, like the earlier, before the modern format, before 2017, we had more people traveling to more of the local regionals and some of the ones a little bit further, like Kansas. And we had a number of people who made day 2 and top 16 and top 8s and top 32s and stuff like that. That really hasn't happened in the modern era, but there's also a lot more people attending regionals. So it's interesting to see, like, the level of competition has gotten higher, but there are like a few standout players from the before times who have the results to back it up, or we really haven't seen that yet, even though people play a lot more than they did back then.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. There's especially Texas players. Back then there was a lot of consistent Texas players. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Aiden, right, and some others, but back then there was a whole lot of them, especially from the Houston area and San Antonio. So, Okay, and Alejandra, same question to you. As far as Pokemon TCG, do you feel it's competitive? Should it be more competitive? Is it not competitive? And compared to their card games, if you have any extensive knowledge, even though you can't answer that, just thoughts on the TCG scene itself being competitive.
So for the other games, I can't say I know much at all. But for this one, I do feel like we could afford to be a little more competitive. But I think it's good that there are tourneys that are less so, like Myth, things like that, where it's more of a chill environment for those who want that. And we do have Pocket and Kaboom, which in my opinion are the tournaments to go to for actual like really meaningful practice, because you have Leo, Dylan, Billy, like that's where everyone goes. Victor goes on Sundays to Kaboom, like that. In my opinion, that's when I'd like to show up to like actually practice new or not new decks, but new techs, things like that. I do wish RGB was a little bit more, because it feels kind of bad to want to practice. For example, like my deck, I understand no one likes finding it. That's fair, but I wish there was more opportunity to. But it's fine that it's not, right? We have online for that. Yes.
Okay. Cool. All right. So you heard all their answers. Pretty much audience members from these gentlemen as far as the TCG. And so, yeah, very good insight from them. So, all right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic. And the next topic for these gentlemen is pretty much going to be pretty much about them. I'm sure the community and audience members are wondering, why are these top players, and, exactly what do they do different and whatnot. So my question to you, gentlemen, pretty much is, what do you feel that you kind of do different that kind of just stands out from everybody else? As far as like what you do, what you play, how you prep, and this is kind of just pretty much tooting your own horn, pretty much, and you can give any examples, and anyone out there that is listening to see what you do, and one has suggested from the outside looking in, that everyone's kind of noticed that as far as the rankings, 1 through 5, you guys kind of just, I guess, are more individual, pretty much, people, compared to the other side, or the lower tier at the moment, is kind of more of a team, or they kind of integrate in one area, or team pocket, pretty much. But you guys, you're sort of not team members, but you know each other, and if you play against each other, great. If you don't, okay, then you're getting your grind somewhere as far as playing the card game. So that's one observation that people have been making. So pretty much the question is, what are you doing different that everyone else is not doing, that seems to be helping you getting top better, and doing placements better, especially the local scene. So we'll start with Adrian. Adrian, what do you do better that kind of just thinks that you top so well? And considering the data that we've seen, Adrian, like you pretty much have met your best finish limit, but I know Billy had gave me some information that you've actually topped more than anyone. If for the moral victory, you've probably topped the most, whether it be a top 8 or not, but if you top the most out of everybody, and obviously not all those points are going to reflect on your, because there's a best finish, but that's still pretty good. So yeah, Adrian, what have you been doing, man, pretty much?
I don't know, man. Honestly, I didn't think I was gonna get this far. Like,
Okay.
What Billy says makes sense. Like, yeah, I do notice that. Like, statistically, yes, I do like have more tops, but they're not wins in my eyes. Like, I'm not being like number 1, or I'm not being like top 3 at least. At least when it comes to cups in my eyes, like I'm. Compared to you all, like, I have not been playing this game as much. I think I started back in Paradox, maybe like a few weeks before it came out. So like, I don't consider myself as good as because honestly, I don't think I deserve number 5. I think Brian, 100%, he has been playing this game longer. He knows a lot more decks. That's what I like about his playstyle. He's versatile. For me, I just don't think I have enough experience. I just I see card go boom, card it's like you give it to a baby can pick it up and do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's how I see it. But I just but I do appreciate being number 5, and I will absolutely put this on Ray 100%. 100%.
Okay, so let me ask you this, and maybe this is fair, but I'm gonna ask you because maybe my insight. But can you actually? Is it fair to say that you've been persistent as far as going to tournaments, even if they're like non-sanctioned? Like, in other words, if I go to Stronghold on a typical Sunday, I expect you to be there whether it's a tournament or not. Even a year ago, when you're playing Cloth, I remember those MUV matches against you. But can you agree that you are persistent as far as the card game is concerned? That you're always going to be there no matter what, even sanctioned. Can you agree? Can you agree to the audience to that?
Yeah, honestly, yeah, 100%. Like,
Okay.
I was very consistent.
Right.
Like, I would go to a lot, like maybe like every day, just because like it was very convenient. It's because I live like right in the middle of everything. Like to get to a tournament, it's like maybe like less than 10 minutes. I can make it, be there, go back home, or go somewhere else. Like, yeah, I can agree with that. Yes, I was very consistent compared to other ones, and I guess that did help. Because I would just learn the matchups a lot. Like, it's like you said, like I would just like run like Cloth, Electro, like, and I'm sure people got tired of that, like, but like, I just kept playing it because I really liked, the look on people's faces when like they just have one Pokemon and they just die. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah, for sure. So, yeah, well, I'm glad you can agree to that, because that's how I saw it, like, wow, he's pretty persistent with that deck, whatever, and like, it's like, okay, yeah, this is not easy pickings, like, you might lose, that kind of mentality. So, cool. All right, we'll go on to the number 4. So, number 4, Victor Limon, pretty much same question to you. What do you do differently out there that gets you the better results? And, pretty much what do you do differently out there as far as Pokemon?
Okay, before I give my answer, I know I've been really vocal about this to you. If one of the people who deserves at least to be on this list the most, I would agree it is Adrian. Because from when he started till now, he's been one of the most like consistent players. Maybe not in the outcome of what he wants, but he will get there. Like, he is getting there. He's one step closer. But I know obviously his job and time, right? Like, that's a lot of like to ask for.
Yeah,
but
adulting.
yeah, pretty much. As what I do differently, I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but I do spend a lot of time watching videos. Like, I've been examining Toronto, and I just like to look at every like game and kind of dissect it myself and see like, oh, what could have happened if I was in that like position, So I watch a lot of videos, a lot of commentary, and I mean, like, I spend hours just doing that, and I play a lot of ranked online too. And I play for hours. I mean, if I have the time, right, like, I'll grind for like at least, let's say, 2 to 3 hours, maybe 4 a day. I also have like a close group of like 3 people, which you guys know, my girlfriend, Adrian, and my friend group too, Jesus from Larcana, Jacob from Larcana. They build decks, or I'll build decks, and they'll play with me. And it's like literally me playing chess by myself because I'm correcting their steps because they're misplaying. Obviously, it's not their card game, right? So I'm like fixing their mistakes, and I'll be like, oh, this is why you do this. But at the same time, I'm helping myself by fixing their mistakes, because I'm like, okay, if I would have made that mistake, how do I progress forward to fix it? Like, so it also helps me a lot. Other than that, I mean, it's just time and effort and traveling, a lot of traveling, which I do recommend. Find a friend group, travel gives you a lot of experience. To a certain degree, it helps you with the nerves locally, especially when you're like in top 8, right? Top 8 can be nerve wracking for some people, and that's when the highest mistakes are made. I personally believe so, because of like people watching you, right? Like, you get really nervous. At regionals, you're gonna have thousands of people watching you, and you might not realize it because you're so focused on your game, but people are passing by, and some people will stop and see, oh, what is this guy playing? Like, but you just don't realize it until like you're put in that position.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. So from what I'm hearing, it just pretty much putting in the work pretty much, and then like it's almost like I'm hearing like it's okay to have some self-discovery as far as you like having some people play. I mean, they play card games, right, but not specifically Pokemon, and you correcting them and just kind of like just getting those reps in and helping them, and just pretty much time on task. That's what it seems like. Like
Yeah.
you may not be playing Pokemon, but you're coaching it, you're watching it, you're listening to it, and then yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I can definitely tell you when I know we're kind of jumping the line, but like with Billy, like when Billy is not playing a game, he's watching a game. Like
Yeah.
like that's immediately his eyes is going somewhere else, and it's almost like do not disturb buttons on.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot about Billy. Like I'll be standing next to him and he'll just have like his hand on his chin and just focusing on what's going on, like
Yeah.
and just looking at his, like, not his opponents, right, but like as the game progresses. And I try to do that as much as possible, but it's a little bit difficult when you have like so many people around you trying to like discuss. But it does help to see other players, and it kind of makes you think, like, why are they doing that, and why am I doing, like, what am I doing differently, like, so it gives you a different perspective and mentality.
Definitely.
But yeah,
Cool. All right, we'll go on to the number 3. So Dylan, same thing. What do you do different? And pretty much, pretty much what's the sauce, man? What do you do different that gets you the results?
First of all, I just never have losing in my agenda. Like, I'm always thinking, okay, every game, I'll win, because I'm like, not to
You're just better.
sound condescending or anything. Yeah, exactly. Like in my head, it's just like simply just be better, forehead. Like, and you'll win most of your games. But yes, probably people don't know this about me either, but I do the same thing Vic does. Like before a regional, well, that's when I have free time, right? That's when I'm home and I can actually spend time to like grind the game. Because as Kevin says, I'm usually out in Russia, so I can't really dedicate a lot of time to the game. But yeah, I'll do that same thing where it's like I'll watch previous regional games and I'll just be also like examining them, and it's like same thing, right? It's like, okay, what would I have done here? What would I have done there? Blah blah blah. Another thing I like to do is just stay on live. Like I'm literally before a tourney, if I decide I want to show up to it, I'm just playing on my phone. Like whether it be with like a random deck I'm picking up that I'm not really picking it up for me to play it. It's more so for me to like understand what the deck wants to do, how it wants to win, and things like that. That way, when I'm sitting in front of it, I'm like, okay, well, I know what you're trying to do. Like, I know what you are, right? And I essentially have their strategy in the back of my head while also thinking of mine. So I guess that's where people get the whole idea that I'm like a think 5 turns ahead like kind of player, because I do that, yeah, but it's more so thinking, okay, you're more than likely going to want to do this against me, so I need to respond by doing this, and it's more so like a preemptive kind of thing. So, but yeah, my advice, just be better. That is all.
That's my goat right there. That's my goat.
Subscribe to his Metafy.
Oh yeah, subscribe for my coaching. As always, Kevin has the link for that.
Oh my god. Yes, I do have the link, and from time to time I do give it out at tourneys when it's needed or necessary. So, and many times when I see my well play, definitely necessary. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
No, just kidding. No. In all seriousness, I mean, I say that with all the love because my well, he's kind of striking me like an Adrian. Hasn't had the results yet, but he's showing up to like every single tournament. And I know at some point he was a little discouraged because he wasn't seeing the results. I think he went to like a pocket tournament, and obviously maybe it was working right, but like he just wasn't playing. I'm like, well, how come he wasn't playing? It was a league challenge, but I think if he can polish his game, he can definitely do some damage later on. Because to me, he shows up to a lot of tournaments. I'm like, man, it's like even in the casual plays, That's why I made that Moonblast one where it's like multiply him when he's winning all the time, you know. So
Yeah.
But-
Recently, he got second or third at the Kaboom Challenge, so he's working his way up.
yeah, for sure,
Mhm.
for sure. So hopefully, yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Manuel Sweep, here we go.
Mhm. I'm
Wait,
ready
who-
for
who-
it. Man,
who won
Manny
the-
number 1. I'm ready.
I'm waiting.
All right, Billy. Same question to you. Pretty much. I know you kind of answered it before, but maybe just want to alliterate to the audience. You know, what do you do different? And yeah, and no problem hearing that applesauce story again. So go for it.
Oh god. Unlike the others, I really don't play online. Like the thing you'll see me online if I'm playing like Tinkaton or like Arceus Hydreigon, and I'll play like 3 games, then the game will crash, and I'm just like whatever. But I do like to watch a lot of games, either stream games or VOD review, or even like Victor was saying, like at tournaments I like to watch other people play, just to kind of analyze their gameplay as they play through it and see what I would do differently, or just kind of get a sense of what they would do in their shoes. So when I do play against them, I have a better idea what their ideal or what their thought process might be. So I do watch a lot of gameplay and think about it a lot. I don't really get to practice a whole lot, but I do spend quite a bit of time on Limitless, just looking at deck lists and like memorizing lists and just kind of getting counts situated in my head. So when I do get time to play, I have a pretty good idea of what I'm playing against most of the time. One thing I also want to touch on, like I know y'all mentioned, Adrian was a grinder, but also like sub. First part of this season, like was at every single tournament, and I think their results have definitely shown from that. I think it was like every week they were winning, you know, Myth and Kaboom, and I think their growth in the game is just due to them playing very well, obviously, but also just the amount of time they dedicated to playing the game. Because the more games of Pokemon you play, the better you get. But yeah, other things that I do, that's mostly it. And I play a lot on the Limitless Simulator, and just do like opening hands just to see kind of like how I would think was out the first couple turns of the game, and then just start a new game. But I'll deal with a bunch of different decks. So whenever I'm on a flight to a regional or whatever tournament, that's all I do on the flight. It's just like you hand, and get games in that way.
Okay. Yeah, and some interesting thoughts, because I've heard Jonathan or other people say it, you know, a while back, or I forgot who, but, you know, with Billy, people will see Billy play like Apples or like just Tinkaton or just like a weird deck and then make top cut with it, you know, from time to time, and then like, or the opposite is they beat him really bad, right? And they're just like, okay, cool. But then when he really like buckles down and he's playing Zard or something, like he'll just like put on a clinic, you know, pretty much. Hence and points, and you know, I'm gonna bring up his name, Ray. You know, like that Zard match against Goldingo. Like, I mean, it was just not even close. What Billy did to Ray. You know, it was just a clinic pretty much, and it's like. And that one, I kind of pulled the ability, like watching that game, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool seeing this kind of line of play he was going through. But and then they get shocked, you know, like, wow, he can actually play the game. Like, we all know he can, but like to see it in flesh, like, wow, he put a whooping, you know, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that. Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, sorry to interject, Kev.
No, you're good.
For those that aren't aware, did Billy do it to Ray?
Huh?
Yeah.
Like how badly did Billy beat Ray? That's all I know.
Oh.
Because I wasn't there to witness that match. Me personally, I want to know.
I mean, he just it wasn't like that bad, but like it was more of a, you know, kind of I guess fell for the trap kind of deal. I mean, kind of like it wasn't a typical Zard player like, let me evolve and swing against a Goldingo. It was more just like, okay, I'm just gonna set my board, and I mean, Goldingo is pretty much like Raging Bolt, like just I gotta swing no matter what, I gotta do that. So like you just saw 3 prices gone, and then Diano and everything kind of like, okay, like just board disruption, and then it's like, oh well, I can't do anything, and then Radiant Zard coming in, you know, like to sweep, and just kind of like Dylan said, just 6 steps ahead pretty much. And you know, Ray and anyone else just boom, let me hit what's in front of me, and boom and boom, and it's like, okay, that's cool, but you know, but like a Zard, like what is 180 gonna do? You know what I mean? Like So
Yeah.
so just
And 181 prize is not what you're wanting to do there.
right.
I don't know my goat.
Right.
So in other words, Billy was just better.
Yep.
Yes, pretty
In the
much.
wise words of Dylan.
Yep. Just be better.
Pretty much. And who knows? I mean, who knows? Of course, Billy's not gonna say it, but I mean, maybe Billy had a different play if the other guy thought, okay, he's going to try to get me to 3 prizes. You know, I mean, I don't know, but that's kind of tough because those kind of decks are very linear. You know, Go Dingo, Raging Bolt, like it's just boom and hope they have it, hope they don't. You know, and there's more to it, but yeah. But anyways, just food for thought. Okay, cool. And yeah, so that was Billy with the number 2 and then number 1. Of course, Alejandra, what do you do, buddy? That I think everyone's kind of explained it already, right? But maybe you can add your 2 cents as far as what do you do different, especially this year, that has gotten you the results that you definitely have earned and deserved.
So my thoughts are a bit different than everyone else. While I think getting practice games is really important, I think the people you surround yourself with is equal, if not more, important. For example, I have a testing partner online, the Snorlax Agenda. My teacher, he teaches me everything. So it's weird, like, because everyone in here like described it more as an individual thing, where I usually think of it the other way. It's usually a team effort, in my opinion. Like, for example, when I was building my Sacramento list, I messaged maybe 7-8 different people about it. I messaged Dylan, Billy, John Collin. Like, I try to talk to a lot of people because they have more experience than I do in this. I started this year, I'm pretty sure, playing like competitively, or not competitively. Started playing in general. I started this year, so everyone has a lot more games on me and age. I'm young. So when I'm lacking there, if I have access to message John Collin, Billy, just someone who knows more than I do, I can just learn from them. Because if they're smarter and better at the game than I am, I have something to learn there, which feels super, super valuable. When it comes to deck building, they've seen metas change, they see what the meta is now. They probably have a better idea of it than I do. Let's see what I can learn from them to use for myself. That type of thing. I don't know, it's strange. But I think your like social deck, or not deck group, but like your social Pokemon group, the people who you ask questions to, is almost as important as the practice itself. I was looking at the top 10 list right now. I've talked to Brian for hours about Pokemon, the meta, lists. Same for Dylan, Billy, Adrian, Leo, Ray. Like, I feel like that's so important. Just ask questions like why they did this play or why this card is in their deck, because it just gets you so much info that you would not have had on your own, in my opinion.
Okay. So you can definitely, yeah, basically what I hear from Sub is pretty much, you know, he's pretty much being teachable, pretty much, you know, like be open-minded and take suggestions, ask for suggestions, and yeah, definitely, and the social part of it as well. So yeah, anything else you want to add on to there?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I say something really quick?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
That people really need to be open to getting that kind of commentary back, like Sub said. Like, if someone gives you their opinion, and look at example for this top 10 list. I'm not talking about myself, but like people like Billy, Brian, like people who have so much Dylan, right? If they tell you something, it's for a reason, right? Like,
you're probably right.
Yeah, and don't take it personal, because in my experience, I've tried to help people and like so has, well, I don't know about like Dylan, right? But Billy, me and Kevin have had this conversation before, and some people don't take it with a grain of salt. They get insulted. It's not for us to tell you to get insulted. It's for us to help you because we see something in you that somebody probably else doesn't, or you know, like, or you don't see in yourself sometimes. And I know, like, Adrian and Sub, like, they don't have the experience that most of us have within this card game or another card game, right? But they've grinded, and I've heard them ask questions. Adrian's always like, why did you do this? And why didn't you do this? And like, I know when me and Belen would play like Champao a lot, right? He would always question our lines of play, and we would give him his answer, and he'll be like, "Oh, okay, well, I would have done this," and we're like, "Okay." Like, that's understandable, right? But sometimes we would question like why he would do certain things, and we're like, that's kind of wrong, right? And then slowly he would start to fix the problems, because like he would be like, oh, you're right, like, you know, like, but we're not telling him to be like, hey, you're bad at the game. No, like, you're doing it essentially your own way, but it could be better.
No, you're calling me bad at the game, 100%. That's all I figured.
No, that's me. No, I do that to you. No,
Dylan
I,
will
okay.
I
Thank
will
you.
literally call you bad at the game. No.
Thank you, Dylan. What would I do without you? What would I do
But I
without you?
say it jokingly. Like, I agree with Sub and Vic here, cause yeah, like I'll randomly just say, oh, you're bad, but like in the next sentence I'll ask you, okay, well, why did you? I don't know. For example, like, why did you play your supporter before you drew cards with like B barrel, right? And it's just like it's that's after the fact.
Stupid.
But it's more so me just trying to get, you know, your thought process, and because for me, I'll ask. If I'm asking you questions, it's because I want you to get better. It's not like me just well, like they said, it's not like me just trying to like poke fun or like trying to call you bad or say like your play was stupid or like something like that. But people have probably noticed that I like don't do that with too many people. But it's because like I've seen it where it's like, okay, well, I try, and like how Vic said, like people will get offended. It's just like, okay, well then you're not coachable. Like you're not.
You got this on your own.
You're not wanting to learn. So like you got this. I'll leave you alone. Like with Sub, like I'll troll a lot with like Sub and Adrian, but like it's more for like their benefit, not really like for mine.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
Damn. Is that Dylan giving a shit? That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's more because Dylan, for example, he knows where it went wrong, and if you don't just say, "Oh, I lost, go next," I guess you're gonna just make the mistake again. So just listen to him, please. He's probably right.
Yeah, honestly, that's very, very fair. Honestly.
Dylan coaching is real. By the way.
Dylan coaching is in fact real.
Look in our DMs, it's real.
Even like me. Okay, hold on. Yeah. Even like me personally, when I make a mistake, I'm like murdering myself over it for like a week, because it's like, ah, man, I should have like seen this and like not done a stupid mistake. Like,
I'm the same way. Like, I'll make a mistake and I'll like be like, why did I do that? Like, I know better. Like, I was in the situation and I put myself in that situation. Like, but before I lose my train of thought. There's a lot of times too where like I make a mistake and I'm like, oh my god, I lost, and then my opponent does something and I'm just like, why did you do that? Like you were gonna win, and then I tell them like, you should have done this, and they're like, oh my god, why didn't I do that? Like, you know, and this is like the situations where you try to help them, and some people will be like, oh, it doesn't matter, I lost. And I'm like, what kind of mentality is that? Like, you're never gonna progress if you sit down, and even in the worst of outcomes, like, you're already losing in your mind. It's like Dylan said, you have to go there with a mindset of like, I'm going to win. Like, I'm the type of player that always plays on like the back foot. Like, I put myself in situations, critical situations, because it helps me play better, essentially. It's kind of like the other day, I played against Hydrapple with Charizard, and like Kevin said, like, I let my opponent pop off, and I slowly, like, by their own mistake, like, you know, and the guy was like, oh, I lost because of this. I was like, no, you lost because of what you did. Like, there was no reason for you to put the Mew in the active when I bundled. Like, you just gave me a reason to evolve the Charizard, attack into the Mew, 2 prizes. Now I'm in the 2 prize league. Yes, you're gonna return KO me, but now my Radsart's gonna KO whatever Pokemon you bring forward, you know. So he put himself in that situation.
Who was this against? I feel like I heard this story before.
Don't worry about it, Adrian. We're not here to criticize people. He
wants it.
No, it's a mystery person.
Yes, it's a mystery. And no, it's not Billy.
No, Billy wouldn't do that.
I know.
No, I'll super odd and not put back my fire energy. That is I'll probably lose my magic.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So very good insight and very good information. That that you probably would have to pay for a paywall for that. At Dylan's coaching. So everyone, please.
True.
Yeah. So good information, gentlemen. Good information. Okay. So
Metafy/Dylan.com.
No. Kevin has the link. Ask him for it.
I do have the link.
So thankfully, I travel with Dylan for 8 to 12 hours, so I get all this information for free.
That is true.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we're gonna move on to the last question for the episode, and it's kind of I guess, a two-part question. So they can answer both of them, and like I said, their answers have been very good so far, and probably going to be different. In my opinion, I kind of believe in the philosophy, just kind of like football or anything else. You're only as good as the players you beat. So from time to time, I won't say names because I don't want to stir the pot, but from time to time, in Top Cut locally at Cups and all that, you probably see decks or you see people that probably honestly shouldn't have gone there, because this happened or this happened, kind of like, well, okay, well, that person played this person, so kind of okay, cool, and then they finally got there, right? And then and then they just consistently do okay, I guess, and to some, hey, cool, you made it. To others, it's like, well, okay, yeah, but look who you beat, like, I mean, if I had that pathway, I'd get there too, like, for that matter. And then somebody else had to grind it all out trying to play against Pocket People or Dylan, and when they got there, it was like, okay, yeah, that was a legit top 8, because of what they did. So, and that's Tom for you, right? Just RNG, so, and, that first part of the question is, do you believe in that kind of philosophy? You're only good as the players you beat, or do you think that, if you get there plenty of times, it doesn't matter who it is, and or you got the right matchup, I guess. So that's kind of more of a bigger question, or a big question, big brain. And then the other question, the part 2 question, is pretty much your ranking. Pretty much, do you feel like you should be where you be? Should you be higher? You should be lower? And do you have any thoughts that maybe we missed somebody on that list that should be considered for next time for pretty much for the winter or spring? So yeah, so that's pretty much it. We'll start with Adrian. Adrian, give us your thoughts about I guess the tournament structure. Like, do you think not everyone should have make it, or are we doing ourselves not a favor, with the top cuts because the Pocket Crew wasn't there, but we got some top 8s, and it's like, okay, great, like, yeah, top 8, but doesn't really feel like it because of these 4 players playing this deck, and I got here, but this doesn't feel really like a win. And then pretty much your list thoughts.
100%. Yeah. What was that you just said? That you're only as good as the people you beat.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's true, because if you can get extremely lucky in some cases and just like go against people who are like newer to the game or don't exactly know what they're doing with the deck, and then you just beat them, and then suddenly, oh hey, I'm at the top tables, like look at me now, But I think, yeah, in those cases, a lot of cases, honestly, especially I've seen it here in the Valley where like someone wins that, like, okay guys, how did we let this person win? Not to say names, of course. But I've seen that, like, oh my god, like in Corpus, for example, like, Ale, you should have won that 100%. I don't know how that Lugia won. I think you should have gotten that, but then they just won. And I don't know how that happened. How did we let Lugia win?
My fault, guys. I wasn't running Sinnohs.
And but no, I mean, yeah, like, it's just, it is what it is. You get paired into what you get paired into. Like, sometimes you can get paired into your worst matchup. Like, for example, like, everyone hates going against Snorlax, and instead of teching for it, they simply just hope, pray to God, get religion. They just pray that they don't run into it, and then they still run into it. And I'm like, you kind of put yourself in that situation. Just put the menu in. Like, that's all you need to do.
Yeah, perfect.
Put in the switch. Like, you
right.
do this to yourself.
Right. And how many times did Tony play against Alejandra, like, in top cuts?
Tragedy. Never forget.
Like,
Surely my Rotom never gets counter captured into the right?
Surely.
It's okay, guys. I will bench Rotom because I need to draw cards. I'm gonna get done. Trust.
Surely you don't play box order. You know, surely you
I
don't
would
change
never.
your list.
I would never Jubilife.
No, but yeah, I mean, there has been, in cups especially. Like I would like, there's some that I like just wouldn't make top 8 just because like I either give the win to someone so they make it, or I just lose. I just lose. And then I see the top 8 and I'm like, holy hell! Like, how did this person get in that? Like, how did we let them? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember in Moonblast. I remember in Moonblast Cup, the infamous one where they gave out Halloween prize tags.
That was the goated one.
Adrian cancelled.
You know, Adrian was the anonymous poster.
God, no, I would never be. No, but in that, I honestly like round 2. My first round, I lost to Leo, Salinas, the store owner from the Pocket, and I lost to him. Like, this is going back to like what Vic said, you know, like you put yourself in these positions to like try to make a better comeback, and then like I wasn't able to meet there, you know, like I could have gotten game, but then after that I'm like, oh, I'm so stupid, you know. So I'm like, I'm thinking to myself like, it's all downhill. And then round 2 I go into Dylan and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a harder win. Luckily he was playing bad deck. He was doing bad deck Friday. So I was able to play the game and he did it. So that, and then, but at the end of that one, like, yeah, I got bubbled out because like 2 clocks decided to tie, and then Juan and Julio decided to like not play the game or something. Like, I don't know. But the second question, as for placing, I don't think number 5. Honestly, I don't think I have enough experience yet. Like, I like playing the game. I think I'm gonna stick with. Hopefully, I'm like looking at day 2 of San Antonio. For the upcoming regional. Like, I do think like that honestly, for the ranking, I think Ray and Leo like 10 and 9, that's pretty respectable, you know. Ray because he's Ray, but but Leo, like, if Leo did start playing, like start grinding more, he would obviously like already like be top 5. He would easily be in here. It's like how he said in your video, Kev, that like it's just like time, money, work, all that. It just gets in the way, you know. But like if he really wanted to, like, yeah, he could easily be here. But I think honestly, in my opinion, I think Brian should be here. You know, like I've seen him on a grind too. You know, that's a firefighter right there. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he should be here.
Okay.
Or maybe even Destin. Who knows? Like, he comes to RGV alive.
But Destin's Corpus, he doesn't count.
He's an honorary
boy, dude.
He's an honorary RG member. How about that?
Wow.
What? No.
Wow.
He bought our carpool 30 minutes. We were running late. He can be if he
Okay.
wants.
He came through, but that doesn't make him an honorable member.
Yeah.
But like, whenever we have cups, he always comes down.
True.
Love you,
Not
love you,
always.
Destin, but you're not RGV. Sorry, Dad.
Okay. Next question. Next one.
Okay. All right. Victor, same question to you, man.
I'm gonna say 2 controversial things right now before I make my statement.
Okay.
One,
Okay.
someone kept saying that I need to stop topping at cup because they're tired of seeing me in the top 8. I'm not gonna mention names. And I'm sorry that I make it consistently into the top 8, and yes, he is here hearing this. 2, the Pocket member said something really controversial, and it wasn't the last statement, it was the point system holding them back. I feel like that's just an excuse. The point structure should not hold anybody back from playing. And I do understand, because Leo does have a family, he does have a work. A lot of them do have jobs, right? But they're using the point structure as an excuse. They're like, oh, there's not enough like incentive to like play. But if you really wanted to, you would, like, honestly, because a lot of us might not even make it to Worlds, but yet we're still on the grind, right? We're still playing. And so going back to like if certain people show up, do people get lucky? Yes, I've gotten lucky. Like, if my bracket just stands out from the rest, okay, like, yes, I did get lucky, right? And the top 8, that's where it really shows, like, how, like I said, the competitiveness, right? Like, people try harder. The ones that really want to be there will be there, like, you know? And sometimes it's just not your day. Like, you'll hit, like, the wrong brackets. I hit Maridon twice. Okay, like, I knew I wasn't going to get past the top 8. Like, I already was set with that mentality, right? Like, if I hit it, I mean, I'm still gonna play it to the best of my outcome, right? But if I hit the bracket or if I hit sub and they're teching triple Sinnoh or double Sinnoh, like, okay, like, you know, like, I can't do anything about that. So yeah, like, it just depends. Some people will show up, but as of late, the competitive scene has been so high that yes, there is some people who don't deserve to be in the top 8 when we're playing it out. But I mean, you can't account for that. It's the same thing at regionals. At regionals, like when Stall was so like high in rank, like you already knew just by seeing like the bracket, right? Like you see like, for example, 6 Charizards, 1 Stall, and whatever else, X deck, right? You already know that the odds of Stall winning is there, right? So you can't control the brackets or who you play, right? So that's essentially like how I feel about it. And I don't remember what the other question was, or like if there was more to this question.
Just your thoughts on the
by
list.
your ranking.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, my ranking. I feel like I should be lower than what I am. Like 4 is still really good, right? But I do feel like I should be like the way that it's structured. I do feel like 1 through 5 shouldn't be structured the way that it is, but that's my opinion. I do feel like Brian should be higher on the list, and I know that he's just been really occupied with like his job and like his life, right? And like I understand why Leo is in the position that it is, but it's Leo. Like it's one of those players that when you walk into the room, you're like, okay, like I know that this is the person that I need to look out because multiple cup winner, right? Like you are for certain that he's gonna be like in the top 8. He hit a really bad bracket at what was it, Pocket with the claws, and he still ended up like making it to top 8. So that just goes to show like the kind of player that he is, right? So that should have put him like a little bit higher on the list, but I do understand time, right? Do I feel like there's players out there who should be on the list? 100%. Like this list is like, I feel like this list should just motivate people to want to play better. Like, you know, like it's like the way Kevin is doing it, it helps a lot of people. Like Adrian, I remember when I would hear him all the time, like, oh man, like hearing about these players, hearing about this list, it just makes me want to be better, right? It helps people want to get better, like, and it helps you know, like, what are the players that I should be looking out for as well.
Vic, do you mind if I ask you, who do you think should be on this list? Like not to say like basic, not to say like replacing the current top 10 as per Draw 7 podcast, but more as to say who do you think deserves a spot on the list? You know, not to degrade anyone else.
Like of players that deserve to be on here that aren't on here.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's really tough to say because there's a lot of really good players that just don't do the performance that they should. I mean, like, knowledge-wise, I don't know. It's tough. I can't say that. Like, I really don't want to stir the pot on this one, but there is a couple of players.
I think you should.
No.
Is that it in your turn?
You had your chance.
I had my chance.
Yeah, I just like how Adrian's just like, you should, you know, just
I am gonna say
do it himself.
I know. I am gonna say though, it might seem a little toxic because I do come from a really toxic community, and Dylan knows this really well. Dylan knows this really well, and I'm not gonna stay up to 3 or 4 in the morning playing for cards and money. But Pokemon does need this. It does need this little push, you know, not too toxic, but like call out people, like, you know, be like, hey, that guy, I want to play that guy. Kind of what Ray did. I give him props. But we do need that. But Ray, come on, Ray.
You gotta back it up.
$5, Ray. $5 money match. That's the 3.
Hey, I'm gonna say 5v5 Iron Man for a price. I'm kind of down, dude. It's a really good team here.
All right. So Dylan, same thing. same question, man. Pretty much the same 2 questions pretty much. How do you feel about people that should and should not make it in locals, or is it luck, or, you know, should the system be revamped, or it is what it is? And then your just thoughts on the list.
For me, I mean, it's a card game at the end of the day. Like, of course, there is a luck factor, right? because I don't know, you can dead draw. We're also playing best of one. Like your deck can just dead draw you like 2 games and you're out of contention. And like some people get into top 8 that way. Like, oh my, like I've heard it too. It's like, oh yeah, my like round 1 and like 4 opponents just bricked and I got 2 free wins. It's like, okay, but like at the end of the day, it's there's also skill expression. So I don't necessarily agree with the whole I guess quote unquote like they don't deserve to make it, because like I mean they got their wins, they got there. Like, hey, all power to you, you did it, right? Sure, people will like downplay it for X and Y reasons, but at the end of the day, they got there, right? And you didn't, or whatever. So all power to them. As for the ranking, I've always told people when I like talk about it, I'm just like, I don't necessarily like care where I am on the list, because I know myself, like where I stand. So it's like wherever you place me on this list, I'm like, okay, like that's not necessarily important to me, but I guess maybe to like other people that see people on the list and they'll be like, oh, I beat this guy, right? Like that must mean I'm getting better at the game or whatever. It's like it gives them that little push, but to me it's never been like
And I'll be
too
all
much of an importance. Like, yeah, like I appreciate you guys thinking so highly of me, but like I know what I am, like I know what I'm capable of, and like if for one day, like when I went to go work and I was just like working for months on end, and you had me as an honorable mention, I was just like, well, yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, I haven't been playing for like months. Sir, I have these results and these placements and like my day 2 or whatever last year, but I haven't been playing, so like I don't even deserve to be on the list. So like, how am I gonna be on a top 10 players list if I'm not playing?
Yeah, you're not wrong there. And here's a fun fact, and for those that don't know, or they may know, but it's been so long, I think it's still pinned, but you know, and this is a free coaching tip because it's not on the link, but when Dylan made day 2 with Lugia, was that at San Antonio like 2 or 3 years ago, right?
My first day 2 was Arlington.
Arlington, right? So yeah, if you go, so if you go to the South Texas website, like I think it's still pinned. Like click on it, and you can see just an example of pretty much somebody's thought process, and then watch it be taken down by Billy because nobody wants to. We shouldn't be reading that now, but if you click on it, like he has the breakdown of why he picked his 60 pretty much, and his matchups and what he could have changed, just to give you a taste of what all of these guys go through in their grind or mental preparation, you know. And it's a good example to see it, you know. Maybe old information, right? But it's still cool to see the thought process of why he picked the 60, what were his matchups, what he could have done better, what could he have changed after the tournament in hindsight. So just a little food for thought about Dylan. You know, which I mean,
no information is old, Kevin. All information is good information.
It is.
It is true.
It is true. But you know, they just want the link. That's all they want at this point. So
yeah, I know. They just want to use me.
Yeah, pretty much. So, anyways, okay, all right, cool. Same thing with the list. You know, I mean, I made it, and some people thought I was trolling. I'm like, no, that's what I think, and then it just kind of got out of hand, you know, especially what's his name, Uriel. He was like, well, when I make that list, and hey, who knows? Maybe that got him to beat the crap out of everybody at that PokeFest with Raging Bolt before it got popular, you know? I mean, but after he won the tournament, he's like, I'm going to be on that damn list, right? I'm like, yeah, you are, man. Like, and of course he disappeared, but that's another story. But yeah, it's like, okay, so these little moral victories and all that, like Victor's saying, like it does help with some people, you know, so that's cool. All right, Billy, same thing to you. Pretty much thoughts on tournament placement. Is it legit or not? Should it be legit? Do we care? And pretty much your thoughts on just the overall placements.
In terms of local tournament placements, it's not something that I think we should be super focused about. Like, yeah, sometimes people may play suboptimally, make top 8, but there's just so many tournaments,
Right.
like every month, that it's just bound to happen, right? Not everybody can attend every tournament, and sometimes people who may not play as well make top cut, and sometimes the people who do play well don't make top cut, right? It's just sometimes you get weird matchups, or you get dead draw, like Dylan says, best of one. Sometimes different factors. Sometimes you hit sub round 1 like 3 tournaments in a row, and you gotta deal with that.
And you didn't put a 2-row in your deck, like.
Or like me and Kevin have played on like the last 3 tournaments. I think we played
Yeah.
on. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a luck of the draw there. So I wouldn't place too much emphasis on that. In terms of my placement on the list, I think it's okay. Like, I could do better, obviously. I've attended most of the, if not all the cups recently, or over the last quarter or 2 quarters. I've only placed at like, I don't know, 5 of them. And I've attended, 8 or 9. So my placements could be better, so I'm fine with where I am. I'm still missing some League Cup or League Challenge wins, which is kind of embarrassing at this point of the season, but it is what it is. But we still have a bunch of tournaments to get to, like regionals and ICs and stuff, so hopefully I could do a little bit better there. In terms of other players, Kevin knows that my GOAT is Mark, and I hope to see him jump up on this list at some point, but his first turn will be San Antonio, so hopefully he can impress y'all.
I
Yeah.
don't know. He's already shooting himself in the leg, wanting to play that ghost deck.
Yeah, I also encouraged him by giving him some art for Gigas, but that's my bad. So yeah, that's all I got really.
Okay. Yeah, and just a little history. Well, maybe that's another episode, but a little history about Mark. Marcus Garcia. Like, in terms of what Victor said earlier, or a couple of minutes ago, man, I forgot. But yeah, Victor had mentioned when you talked about like the whole point placement. There wasn't such a thing back then when Mark played too. I mean, there wasn't even Limitless because there's nothing to guide on. But you see, like Mark just had a very good run, but his mentality was not really like, oh my God, the points. He wasn't. He was just like straight as an arrow as far as like, this is what I'm gonna accomplish at states for Texas, and he won it all. And then after that, kind of just, okay, fine, took a step back, did his thing, school and all that, and then nationals came, and then his same mentality, okay, stuck with the same deck, this is my mentality, and then becomes a finalist pretty much, one game away from being the national champion. Just interesting to see that in the future of all these things that we talk about, like clearly Mark was ahead of its time, because that's kind of his mentality was too, if not even stronger as far as. And obviously those results showed, that was 2016, right, Billy, or 2017? 2016? 2016, yeah. So clearly, like, what these guys are saying are clearly on point or on their way, and hopefully one of these days, maybe one of these guys will repeat another Mark, or I don't know, Mark comes back and does the same thing, I don't know, but yeah. So just want to add that for Mark and Billy, because yeah, definitely we can never say no to better players joining in the list or joining in to get better. We'll never say no to that. Nobody will never say no to that. So we're looking forward to that when Mark and he has been grinding, because in the messages he's always like, hey, anyone testing. I'm like, Jesus, like, okay, it's coming back. So, which back then there wasn't an emphasis as far as the card shops. I get it, business is business, but back then there was just league. You show up, you play, you test it. There wasn't really tournaments. That was like once a month that we got one, or we forced it. But now, like, I understand that times have changed, and now, like, there always has to be a tournament, because I get it. People got to get that bread, but, just different, but still the same mentality was still there. It's different day, just same mindset. So, all right.
Me showing up to locals to pull 5 packs of bulk. Hell yeah.
Oh,
So
man.
real.
Yeah. So, all right, Alejandra. pretty much same question to you as far as the list and pretty much RNG placements.
So, for cups, at least in my opinion, I think who gets into top 8 is irrelevant. It is in my opinion. I think it matters or even then it doesn't matter too much. It's just how did you do in top 8? Like, if you made it to top 8, that's cool. That's great. How'd it go once we were there? Did we go 05 drop chat? What happened? Like, I feel like that's a bit of a thing where, cause it is a bit of like with resistance, all that funny stuff, especially best of one. that is quite a system. But I feel like that it does become a bit of a luck check, but what isn't, you know? Like, it happens. Like, if you make it, you're popping off, and if not, oh well. I feel like once you get in top 8, then it's like, how'd you do in top 8, stuff like that. But overall, about like who makes it, I think is irrelevant.
Okay. And then, yeah, thoughts on the list or placements or, you know, you being number 1?
Skill-wise, I do not think I'm 1. I think placements, I did just have generally good placements. Skill-wise, I don't think number 1 is correct. I give like 4 people above me, 5 people above me, just because more experience, like just more stuff like that, where they have more time. They're simply better, in my opinion. But I will take the number 1. We take those. And I come from a different competitive game, so I can appreciate like the list as a motivator, because before in the other game it was I want to be PR, which is player rankings, so bad, which was my motivator to improve in that game. But it was the same for this time. When I saw it, whenever the last one came out, like I want to be number 10. Like, that's all I want. Because I don't know. Dylan's right, where like if you know where you stand personally, that's all you really need. I still want to be on there for the funnies. It's cool. But yeah. Justice for Tony. It should have been Tony. Tony for top 10 next season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Tony believer, but I think the top 5 could be ordered a little differently, but that's just in my opinion, right? I think,
Okay, how?
Thank you. If it wasn't him, it's gonna be me.
Say it.
For this season, Victor for number 1, IMO. My goat.
Wait, what?
I think you had a really solid season.
Thank you. I did not expect that.
Oh, I don't know. I'm a Victor believer.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Who
Hey,
is
join the cult.
Yeah, join the Colts.
Yeah,
honestly.
good to be here. Good to be here. But yeah, I don't know. I think Victor could have been 1 in my opinion. I think I don't know. I think Billy number 2. That day, considering that I think RGV only went to 1 or 2 regionals this season, and Billy got day 2 with them. I feel like that's worth yeah, I think number 2's right, but I don't know. I feel like it could be ordered a bit different, but Vic for number 1. That's as for the bottom 5, I feel like Tony should be in there. Other than that, I think it's alright. It's more for I think it should be more for motivation than like the actual. I don't know. I think you take it more as a motivational factor than I need to be this number specifically because I am better than this person. It should be more about improving yourself rather than beating the other person.
I agree.
But also, I think some more like not what Victor was saying earlier, not toxicity, right? But rivalry, I feel is important for growth. Which I feel like we could have a little bit more of. I hate that Dylan guy.
What?
Well. In case you haven't noticed, Alejandra, I don't know how many times the deck or your name has been brought up when.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Oh yeah, everyone hates.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Which is fine, right?
But it's okay. I had showed up to the cup and tried to like disperse a little bit of hate towards me too.
Thank you, buddy.
I tried. I
Play
helped.
Fortnite, all of a sudden people care a lot less. Let's go.
No. I played
Honestly,
live.
Alex, if people hate you for what you play, you're doing something right.
Yeah,
True.
yeah, my family told me that. I was like, man, how do I practice with people? They do not want you to like, oh, so you're doing good. I was like, I guess.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Right.
For all that you get, no one texts for it. They're just like,
Yep.
oh, if I
Yeah.
get into it, I get into it.
They-
You know, so it's like,
you're there.
yeah.
They
I
know
did-
you're gonna do well, and they still don't put the damn switch card in their deck. Like,
Yeah.
No, it's okay. They will miss me. Trust. Please keep
I-
doing
I-
that. It's
I-
very helpful.
I did tell Kevin. I was just like, I don't understand like, how Ali gets away. But I did tell him because I was like, I did feel like your number one placement, and this is not to shade on you because you're an amazing player when it comes to playing stall. But I felt like your placement for stall was kind of like first. But then again, you did win, like right. Like I'm not going to discredit you. But what I told Kevin that distinguished you is that I was like, okay, once you take stall from him, what can he do, right?
Give
Or what
up.
can they do?
Give
No.
up.
what really took me by surprise, and this is where I'm gonna give you the credit that is deserved, right? Is that you're trying and you can play in so many different decks, like so you're showing that you have a range of options. You're not just like the stall player,
Oh,
like
for
you
sure.
know. Yeah, so like
Like I won a challenge with Maridon like 2 months ago or a month ago.
Mhm.
Top 8 a couple of Lost Fox, like, but I have my beloved. So until he's gone, we're
No,
chilling.
I remember that 3v3 that Stronghold had, that people were still hating you just because you were playing Raging Bull instead of like
Leave me alone.
like it was the most meta deck, the most linear thing, and you're still like, I don't want to go against that person. You know, it's just like, okay.
damn. So
Yo,
people
no,
don't
no.
even hate Lax; they just hate sub.
Yeah, no, it's a
I
me
know.
problem, right? But
No,
Yo,
but,
my
Be
dear.
better.
like it's okay to have like the deck that you're known for and what you specialize on, but just for it's like these pro players, right? They're known to play these decks, but when they shine with other decks and you're like, okay, so they do have a range of like qualities and different styles, you're showing that with your growth. That's what I'm trying to
Mhm.
say, right? Like I saw you play Champao and I was like, okay, like what the heck? Like I was not expecting that, like what the heck? And then you ended up like topping, right? So that just goes to show like you are like a
Oh,
range player.
okay.
It's like me
So that's
and the person who was hating on me for playing Lugia, right? It's like it's not my fault that I'm playing one of the best decks for a cup. Like, like you should play better than Adrian.
Just
was
be
it
there.
me? Was I hating you for Nuga? I don't remember this. When was this? Hold up.
Kevin was, I don't know if Kevin was there when you were like, oh, I'm tired of you topping Vic. Like, just lose and give it to Puff. I was like, okay.
That was for Stronghold. I remember because Pop was playing Arceus Dusknoir, and I was like, I really hope that deck makes it the top 8. So like, Vic, just please lose.
So,
Yeah, that was
should have
it.
won.
He should have won. Pop was simply not better.
By the way,
Exactly.
Puff was my only loss that tournament. He beat me up round 1.
To be fair, he did misplay, and I told him on his misplay, he was like, you alright? I was like, yep. Like, it happens.
It's because he didn't have Didn't coaching. That's why.
No,
Yeah.
he was just kind of tired. That I think that was like his third Lugia or his second Lugia. I think it was like his third. And he was like, "Dude, I'm done." Like, and you can't have that mentality. You need to like. It's like if we were to go to San Antonio tomorrow, we're probably gonna face like 6 or 7, like from 5 to 6 Dragos. Like, come on,
Yep.
see it all
Something
day.
up, we
Like,
got this. We're gonna fight it. It is what it is. Beat
Okay,
it.
just play 2-2 Tokyo.
All right.
going back to topic, because
No, we're
like,
no,
Yeah,
no, we're
Everyone needs
good.
to leave already.
No, we're good. We're good. No, we're good. Stop. No, we're good.
content, dude, content.
Yeah, you're right. So, all right. Well, I think that's. I mean, with that being said, I think that's kind of a good wrap up here, gentlemen. But I do appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedules. Whether you were informed or in this case not informed. Vic, sorry about that. But yeah, we do appreciate them being on here. And like I said, if you do see them out there in the tournament scene, you hear it. Well, we hope you heard it. They are extending the invite as far as asking questions. And the last thing I'll say is, because I do really feel bad for him because I think he does care. But it kind of sucks seeing his frustration. Jonathan Lee, I mean, that guy, he's played very locally at Kaboom when he can. And when he does with his son, I think 2 weeks ago, I remember he was just super frustrated. I mean, again, he was playing Dragon Ball, right? Which, it is a deck that you need to be thinking a couple of sets ahead, in my opinion. So maybe not the deck for him, but when I did see him play, and like you can tell, like he had that face of like, I'm just tired of losing, you know, like just kind of like, because he wants to win, you know, and I know we joke with him, or I joke with him, right? But I'm rooting for him. Kind of like I'm kind of pulling a Dylan. It's like, look, I joke with you, but I really want you to win because you're here all the time, man. And like, you know, but I think what kind of scared me was he's like, man, maybe I need to pick up another game or whatever because he just was not performing well, you know. And I kind of feel bad for him, like, man, okay, maybe I need to like, or get somebody, you know what I mean? Like, just, hey, let's play a couple games, you know, because I just, you know, because that's somebody you don't want to lose, you know. It's a community member, you know, and he simply does care. He just doesn't. He's just frustrated. Like it's one of those things. Like I know the answer, but I can't get there. Kind of like a math problem, you know. Like
I got 3 words. You all know them very well.
Okay, so my opinion, and if Jonathan's listening to this, I would say ask more questions. He needs to play at a slower pace, and I don't mean like stall your opponent. I mean like don't get ahead of yourself. Like think properly, because the times that I played him, and I told him so many times, and it's going back to I should have lost that match. Like I should have 100% lost that match. When I played him with Lugia, I should have not won, and he was like, I don't know how I lost, and it's because he missed sequence. He got ahead of himself. He's like, oh, I'm gonna win. This is what I'm gonna do, right? Instead of being like, you know what, I have control of the game. How can I like allow the game to continue in my favor instead of like, oh, I'm already gonna win, you know? And we've seen it so many times. Go again to the VODs where like the opponent is up, and this is an example. Like look at Toronto. One of the players was like 3 prizes behind, and they Iono like disrupted and completely switched the game. Like
I'm pretty sure it was
on its toes.
2 to 6 and then 1. It was insane.
It was insane, and the person just came back out of nowhere, and even the commentators were like, "What kind of game was this?" Because like they were already like, "Oh, he lost." Like,
oh, it was the Raging Bolt one.
Yeah, it was the Raging Bolt against some Draco? Yeah, or Zard. I don't remember. Something like that, but I recommend you go back and watch the Toronto VOD, and that's one of the games you should see because that player played out of his freaking mind. Like, and I saw that game, and I saw it like 2 or 3 times, and I was like, wow, like,
yeah.
And I've been put in those situations, right, where I'm losing, and a lot of people saw my past cup, the one that I won. I shouldn't have even, like, I won without a Lugia. Like, crazy to say, but it happens.
Oh yeah, you were simply just better.
Oh my god.
I remember specifically I was playing, it was like a random locals or a challenge, I don't know. I was playing against Leo, he was playing Lugia, and in my head, like, he amped me turn 2, and I was like, okay, I lose, like, I'm Guardy, I just lose to this. But like he misplayed 1 turn, and I ended up like winning the game, like from I think like 1 prize to 6. Like I went like double monkey and like took 6 prizes on 1 turn, and I was like, oh. But even then I told them, I was like, well, no, I only had the opportunity to win here because you misplayed, and I showed him how he misplayed, and he was like, oh yeah, you're right. So like I don't like to really go into the mindset of like, oh no, every game is winnable, like I'm gonna play this game out to like the very last second, because in best of 3, like you won't have time for that. And in my head, I'm assuming my opponent is just going to play every turn correctly, so it's like I can't just let this game go until the end hoping my opponent makes mistakes.
Yeah, you need to distinguish this is still winnable from I am losing 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I actually want to add quick. Even before the tournament starts, like I get to the tournament. Sometimes I'm late, you know, but sometimes I'm there early. Everyone's just like sitting around waiting for round 1 to start, when they could be playing Pokemon, right? They could be practicing before the tournament starts, and they're just waiting for the round 1 announcement. So, like, I got to Pocket last week or whatever it was, and I just started playing Caesar, like, when I walked in. We played, like, 3 games before we even got to round 1. And getting that practicing helps a lot. Like, even though we're kind of kidding around and playing and learning how to play Zard together, like you mentioned, like, Jonathan or whoever it might be who wants to get better at the game and take that time where you're there at Kaboom, or you're there at the Pocket, or you're there at Moonblast or Stronghold or whatever. Shout out to Groundsville also, all those stores over there. Take that time and actually like play more Pokemon instead of just waiting for the tournament to start and get your loss and go home after two rounds or whatever. Right?
Hey.
Like you could be getting a whole lot more in.
It's kind of like Sub when he doesn't top the cups, or they wouldn't. He would stay behind and just be watching the whole games, like all the games, and being asking questions. I'm just like, dude, go home.
Yeah. I'm like,
Like,
but
no, mom and dad, not yet. I'm watching Gamers Gaming.
I'm watching Lugia versus Applesauce. Leave me alone. I'm busy.
And like even when you
Really?
practice, like when I practice with Belen, and like I'm really like I say this a lot because she's really mean when it comes to playtesting. Like I'll be playtesting. No, dude, I'll be playtesting with her, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna scoop, and she's like, are you gonna do that at a cup?
Oh, damn.
Dang.
No, dude, like, and I'll be like, are you being like for real? She's like, yeah, you're gonna do that? Like, is that what you're gonna go and do? So like I'll sit there and then play it out, right? And she'll beat me, and I'll be like, is that what you wanted? And she's like, no, this is for you to learn. I'm like, well, you're right, but like I was gonna scoop, then you was gonna lose, and she's like, yeah, but you can't have that mentality. I'm like, okay, like,
Right.
you know, so it does help.
W advice.
W advice,
And
honestly.
please play against me. No one plays. I want to play.
I know. I remember I felt bad because Sub would be
Hell
like,
yeah.
hey, you want to put some games? I'll be like, no. Like, I don't want to play against you.
Oh, but I play against you all the time,
I
and
don't-
you tell me no because I know how to play against you.
True. I hate
So
that.
what do you want?
Not you. Anyone else.
Oh, okay. Not the
Damn.
only person that's willing to play
No.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we played before Sacramento. We played a lot for like 3 hours actually. We just sat
Yeah.
there.
And
Honestly, for me, for practice, it's really just like locals. Like I don't because TPG Live as an app, absolute garbage. Does not work whatsoever. So I can't really
Orange
test
is
there.
horrible.
Yeah. So like I honestly just practice. My practice is going to locals. That's my locals. Like 'cause like none of my friends like this shit. You know what I'm saying? Part of my
I'm just gonna
friendship.
say, Adrian likes to hide his hobbies from the world.
Okay. Okay. Way to freaking what's the word? Way to expose me, Jesus Christ.
oh my god. All right. Well, gentlemen, that kind of wraps it up for this episode. I do appreciate your time here, and definitely a long one, but probably necessary, to be honest, because a lot of good information on here was said by all of you, and if you want to be the best, especially locally,
Play stall.
play stall and learn from the best. So, but that'll wrap it up for this episode, and I want to thank everyone for being here, and so thank you so much for being here, everybody, thank you everyone, and good night.